everybody, Bob Babbitt here, talking about some Boston stories. Number one for me is Dave McGilvory, longtime race director for the Boston Marathon. We met back in 1980 when the earth was still cooling. We were doing a thing called the Ironman Triathlon, and it was the third year of the Ironman. There was only 108 of us that year. The year before there was 15. The year before that there was only 15. So the event was growing, but it was still really, really small. So in 1980, we came over, and you had to have a support crew. There was no aid stations in the course. You had to have somebody following you for, the 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and 26.2 mile marathon. Well, Dave came over, and he didn't bring anybody with him, and you had to have a crew. So the race organizers gave him a phone book and said, you better go find somebody. And Dave just pulled a name out of the phone book, called him up, and that person ended up crewing for him the entire time. Moving forward, Dave, who had already run Boston a number of times, ended up becoming the race director for the event. And he had had a streak going before he became race director. So as the race started to wind down the middle of the afternoon, he asked one of the police guys if he would take him back to the start so that Dave could keep his streak going and run the Boston Marathon sort of after everybody else. Well, Dave has kept that streak going. And last year, he finished his 44th Boston Marathon in a row. This year, he'll be going for 45 in a row. And the main thing with Dave is, I remember back in those days in 1980, we had to fill out these athletic resumes to talk about what our athletic background was. I was a PE teacher. I played capture the flag. I had no athletic background. Dave, on the other hand, had run 3,000 miles across the U.S., from Medford, Oregon to Medford, Maine, something like that. And I just remember how impressed I was that someone like that, someone who was just out there being an adventurer, could raise money for a charity like the Jimmy Fund, run 3,000 miles across the U.S. And to this day, everything that Dave McGilvory accomplishes, nothing surprises me, from that first Ironman, not knowing he needed a crew, to running across the U.S., to now going for 45 Boston Marathons in a row.